Imagine an ancient Greek philosopher writing about a superpower that ruled the world 11,500 years ago, a city built as perfect concentric circles, surrounded by mountains to the north, open sea to the south, a civilization so advanced they had hot and cold running water, massive temples coated in gold, silver, and orichalcum, and then, in a single day and night of catastrophe, it sank beneath the waves and vanished forever. That story isn't from a fantasy novel. It was written by Plato himself in two dialogues, Timaeus and Critias. For centuries, scholars dismissed it as allegory. But what if Plato wasn't making it up? What if he was repeating a real historical event passed down from Egyptian priests? Discovery of the Richat Structure. Fast forward to 1965. NASA astronauts orbiting Earth notice something bizarre in Mauritania, West Africa, a gigantic bullseye in the desert, perfectly symmetrical, 50 kilometers across, with raised concentric rings exactly like Plato described. They nickname it the Eye of Sahara, officially the Richat Structure. From the ground it looks like random hills. From space, it's unmistakable. Geologists said it was formed by a dome of rock uplifting and eroding over millions of years. Case closed, or so they thought. Why the natural formation explanation is starting to crack. The rings are almost perfectly circular, something extremely rare in nature. The outermost ring is 48 to 50 kilometers wide, almost exactly the diameter Plato gave for the plain surrounding Atlantis. There are ancient riverbeds showing this area was once lush, green, and filled with water, lakes, rivers, even evidence of hippos and elephants. Paleoclimatology shows the Sahara was a fertile paradise with massive lakes as recently as 10 to 12,000 years ago, exactly the time Plato places Atlantis. The concentric rings mystery. Plato said Atlantis had 3 rings of water and 2 of land, alternating, with a central island. Look at satellite images of the Richat Structure. Outer ring, sea. Land ring, with ancient beach lines. Another water ring. Another land ring. Central island 3 to 4 kilometers across. Recent LiDAR and ground-penetrating radar surveys have found straight-line features and right angles under the sand that do not occur in natural geology. The mountains to the north that sheltered Atlantis. Plato wrote Atlantis was protected by high mountains to the north. North of the Richat Structure, the Adra Plateau rises hundreds of meters, a perfect match. To the south, flat open land that, 11,000 years ago, opened directly to the Atlantic Ocean before sea levels changed and the coast moved 200 kilometers west. Evidence of a mega tsunami and catastrophic flooding. Core samples from the center of the Richat show marine sediments and salt deposits at elevations that should be impossible inland. There are chevron-shaped dunes pointing inward, classic signs of a massive tsunami traveling hundreds of kilometers inland. Researchers now believe a comet fragment or asteroid airburst around 10,800 BC caused global flooding, the same event linked to the Younger Dryas' sudden cooling. Orichalcum, red black-white stone, and elephants. Plato said walls were red, black, and white stone, the exact colors of rock layers in the Richat cliffs. He mentions orichalcum mined in quantity, a mysterious red metal. Recent chemical analysis of Richat rocks shows high copper content with unusual alloys some researchers claim could be ancient orichalcum. Elephants roamed Atlantis in great numbers. Elephant bones and rock art from 12,000 years ago are found all around the Richat area. Ancient maps that shouldn't exist. The 1513 Piri-Reis map shows the coastline of Africa, with ice-free Antarctica. But it also marks a huge inland sea in West Africa exactly where the Richat is. Recent expeditions, 2021 to 2025, and suppressed discoveries. YouTube researchers and independent teams using drones and ground-penetrating radar claim to have found rectangular foundations, harbor-like structures, and what look like man-made canals now filled with sand. Local Mauritanian legends speak of an ancient city called Atlantis that sank beneath the sands, not the sea. Carbon dating of shells found in the inner rings, 11,600 years old, within decades of Plato's date. Final reveal and closing hook. So here we are in 2025. Mainstream archaeology still calls it a coincidence. But the list of matches is now too long to ignore. Perfect concentric rings. Correct colors. Correct size. Correct climate timeline. Evidence of catastrophic flooding. Marine sediments 400 kilometers inland. Elephant remains. And satellite imagery that looks exactly like Plato's description from 2,400 years ago. Maybe, just maybe, Atlantis didn't sink beneath the ocean. Maybe it was buried beneath the sands, staring at us from space this entire time. What do you think? Is the Eye of Sahara the real Atlantis, or the greatest coincidence in human history? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if this blew your mind, and subscribe because next week we're diving even deeper into the forbidden evidence they're trying to keep hidden.